And who inspires you as a lyricist and as a songwriter? Who are your heroes?
Well, fantastic. I've got such a vast list, and they come from all quarters. I mean, today we were talking about Stephen Foster coming up, and the wonderful songs. I mean, I could cry when I read that he died destitute in a toilet. I think he was a drunk or whatever. But I thought, wouldn't you have thought he'd have looked after him? He wrote all those beautiful songs, got very little for it. So it stretches back as far as that. And all the great songwriters. And then, of course, the Beatles and people like that. And the great Bob Dylan and Paul Simon and lesser lights like Kate Wolf. So here, there and everywhere, you just draw inspiration. And it gives me a lift when I listen to something good. It doesn't dissuade me. I sort of think, I'd love to write something like that. I never will be able to. I can only write something like me. But it does lift me and think, I'm going to go and I'm going to write something that's going to, transform somebody's way of thinking or lift them a little bit or comfort them or console them or whatever. So that's the inspiration ever on, It's not about, I came into music not because of the fame, because I'm not really a showbiz person at all, I feel a bit sort of out of my depth in showbiz circles, although I love the people in them. I came in because I love music. And I didn't come for the money, although the money's great, And it's fantastic when you start making a few bob and you can look after your family. But I think I was always driven on by the pure passion for the music. I used to sit in the pubs in Merseyside and play all night for nothing. Occasionally somebody would send me a pint over or something. But it didn't matter because all I wanted to do was sing and play my guitar, But that's what drives me on still. I've still got the same passion, thank God,
And passion is the word, because I remember talking to Daniel O'Donnell, who's obviously a big fan of yours as well, and a big good friend.
Daniel, yeah.
And I remember seeing Daniel on support of a Brendan Shine show in the very early days before he made it. And there was about 300 people in the audience. And I remember watching Daniel, and not so much on stage, but after the concert, he was there till I think about 2:00 in the morning probably, meeting the people and, enjoying their company. And there's no substitute for looking after your fans. That is the number one thing which I think has made Daniel, the star that he is. He's a people person.
Yes.
He's got so much time. And I see parallels between Daniel and yourself, and I'm sure you'll agree with that.
Well, it's a nice thing to put me in the same category. But yeah, you're right about Daniel. He spends so much time looking after everybody. He's been incredibly kind to me. And similarly with the people in the business, you hear these horror stories. And I can't subscribe to that because all the people I've met, you mentioned Daniel, there's George Hamilton IV, who must be one of the nicest people in the world, let alone in music. And I've been across to America and Nashville, and I met up with John Prine, who I've adored for years, and Don Everly and people like that. And you find there's such nice people, and they've got time for everybody. And I think if you ever forget, if people apologise when they come up to me and stop me, a lot of people still never heard of me, but the people that know me come up and say, I hope you don't mind. And I say, listen, love, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here, so you're not bothering me at all. It would bother me if they came up and said something awful or were abusive, but no, they shower you with kindness. And if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So I think if you forget that, you've lost the plot completely.
But so many people do forget that, and that's sad, isn't it?
I think that, I can't understand that. And it's similarly, people say to me, Charlie, you won't change, will you? And I say, well, who am I going to change into? Am I suddenly going to say, well, I don't know, those people that I knew before, I've still got all the same friends. They still go in the same old pubs in Birkenhead to see all the lads and everything. I think, well, why would I spend my life building up this sort of wonderful friendships, these wonderful friendships that I have, and then suddenly say, oh, well, it would sort of say, well, all that was rubbish. I didn't really mean that. This is what I meant to be. And I can't understand that whatsoever, because all the friends that I have, I want to keep. I spent a lot of time getting a friend. I've always been like a millionaire in the friends I've got. So I think if you lose the plot in whatever shape or form, it's a sad thing, and it sort of deprives your life of a lot of pleasure and a lot of joy.
Because it's the best marketing tool in the world.
It is. Those people pass on things. I mean, you don't do it for that. But if you show some little kindness to somebody, they'll remember it forever, and especially if they think you're somebody, I mean, I know I'm just Charlie from the back streets of Birkenhead, but to some people I think it's very special if I ring them up or I speak to them or I spend a bit of time with them. That means a lot to them, and it means a lot to me. And so, nobody's a loser. And you're an idiot if you forget and think you survive on your own. You do not.
So where are we now in the career of Charlie Landsborough? Because you know, to me it seems that you've got albums, you've got DVDs out now, regular television appearances. Could always be more of them, of course, but you're obviously satisfied with how things are going. But what about the next 10 years or so for Charlie? What's going to be going on?
I haven't got a clue. I really haven't got a clue. I just do. I say the Almighty, as I said before, I'm a great believer. If he opens a door, I'll walk in. I mean, I've just had a request to go to Sri Lanka. And I thought, I'll go, I'll go and play in Sri Lanka. Somebody's just phoned me from Sweden and said, would I go there? I'll go because I believe he'll put me where he wants me to be. But if he never opened any more doors for me, I'd be very happy indeed, because I think I'm a very fortunate person. I'm travelling around with people. I've got my family with me, and I've got great friends around me. I'm doing the thing I love. I meet fantastic people. And if another door never opened for me, I'd say, wasn't I a lucky fella, because I'm now able to fulfil the dream I always had, was to sustain me and my family through the thing I love, which is music, So I'm very lucky, but I don't plan ahead. I just write what I feel like writing at the time and hope to God some of it works. And never look, I just wait for the man upstairs to sort of say, you're going there now, Charlie, or you're going here, and I'll go.
And do you have any ambitions left in the music business? I mean, if you had the magic wand, I'd really like this to happen from now on. What would that be?
Well, I suppose if somebody said stretch your imagination a little bit, and what would you come up with? I suppose to travel into different territories altogether, especially into Europe, back to Germany would be nice. To record maybe, I'm not into duets, but maybe if somebody said, Jennifer Warnes or Willie Nelson or Dolly Parton would like you to do a duet, I mean, that would be lovely, because they're icons. Or John Prine, who I love,
Have you approached Willie at all? Because I'm sure he's very amenable to that sort of thing. He's recorded with everybody, isn't he, apart from Charlie Landsborough?
Well, I say I could join the list, I met Willie actually in Brisbane in Australia, and I thanked him for the music. He didn't have a clue who I was, but somebody said he must have thought he walked into a mirror, apart from the fact that he's quite a bit shorter than me, but a very sort of kindly, humble soul, And I said to him, Willie, I asked a friend about you in Ireland, I spoke to Chris Christopherson. I didn't say who the friend was, and I said, what about Willie Nelson? I said, I love Willie, and he said, of all the people I ever met in the business, the least affected by success is Willie Nelson. And I told Willie that. I thought, what a fantastic compliment, And he said, gee, who was that? And I said, Chris Christopherson. Well, by this time, he's looking at me saying, who the hell is this fella? Because all the Aussies were saying, would you go back with Willie? Can I have one with you and him, And I said, I'm not trying to steal your thunder, Willie, which I couldn't do. But, I'm sorry about that. And he was as good as gold. But, maybe one of these days, maybe he'll sort of say, I remember that hairy fella, another one like me. Maybe he'll come up with an idea,